This is Logical MGTOW Spock making another podcast type video, and I can tell you the other two that are making sense besides Duzangs and myself and Mr. Hate Vicious and Mike the MGTOW Man and of course Mr. Elite. I'd say the one thing that should show also is that we MGTOW are more than aware of the feminist, shall we say, their actions and their non-actions, and their sinful attributes and their non-sinful attributes, and their illogical aspects of, shall we say, reality and sensibility. And I can tell you from firsthand that I've been watching a number of videos from TikTok to start with, and apparently the young feminist women are still on the aspect of still thinking that we men should be subservient to them and give in to them, as I mentioned in my first podcast video of MGTOW. This is Logical MGTOW Spock, by the way. The one thing, though, is that the feminist women keep on forgetting. We MGTOW men, as well as hopefully other men, who's to say how many men have not yet become MGTOW or have considered it. I have essentially invited many men that have been more than sick of the hypergamy of the feminist female. And with the aspect of the hypergamy of the feminist female, there's only so far one person that I saw today that was logical, although I'm not going to put his name out because of course I'm respecting him for his own personal, shall we say, statement on TikTok. But he made a lot of sense. But also, women think that they have the answers to everything still. When it comes to, are you upset that you haven't met the right person? Are you upset that you haven't been in a relationship for a long time? And I'm like sitting there going like, who gives a shit? You women are only after one thing, and that's our resources. You women are only after one thing, and that's base of saying what we can do and what we can't do, like it's a socialist democracy, and we're not about that. I'm not about that, and I'm a humanitarian advocate, besides a MGTOW member to start with on this aspect. I've been advocating since 2004 for the American people, and I am advocating for MGTOW as well, under humanitarian advocate of CRPHA. And I can tell you honestly that the feminist female do not get the fucking fact the more they go to their hypergamy of expecting men to be subservient to their wants and needs and illogical aspects and sinful actions and what have you, and expect us to forgive them after they cheat on us men. But yet, as I mentioned on the first MGTOW, Logical MGTOW podcast video, that in the 1980s and 1970s and 60s and 30s and 40s, if we men have done them wrong, what they do is slap us or simply walk away, or slap us and then walk away in the sense of like tiptoeing as they go in tears. But the basic fact is that they expect us men to simply, without question, forgive them for cheating on us, which basically the sexual playground is not a very safe shall we say, surrounding to do and risk our health and well-being, as well as our health and the medical attributes and what have you. But of course, the feminist female think that they can ride the cock carousel and nothing will happen to them. They won't get the aspect of what's known as herpes. They won't get the aspect of what's known as gonorrhea or syphilis or anything that can be killing them, like what I mentioned on the first podcast of MGTOW, of the fact that they will easily get the HIV AIDS virus if they keep on riding the cock carousel by cheating on us to start with. And even if they are not in a relationship, the same basis will happen. Of course, the same basis will happen to us men who are not in relationships as well. But at least one thing we know to do first off, at least the MGTOW men know to do first off, is always make sure that the woman is 100% clean. But of course, not very many women have the aspects of using that logic on what they're going by, and logically is not, well, I should say not really logically, of course, and also spiritually sinfully as well, is that they're going by their emotions. Well, this guy would never lie to me, even though I'm cheating on my man. This guy would never lie to me. And they open their legs at fucking 10 and 2, or even straight up at 1 and 12 or whatnot, and what have you. It really doesn't matter, but the basic fact is that they're using their emotions. And yet they're saying, here, stick it in me while I'm cheating on my man. That's the basis of riding the cock carousel to start with, what many women have done to us men, and they expect us to forgive them? Hell fucking no, man. There's no way in hell. I never truly forgave the women who cheated on me in my past. So basically, I ask and suggest that every other man who's not MGTOW yet, even though those who are MGTOW, to follow the same base. Because the more we forgive them and be subservient to them, and the more we allow them to speak for us, when we have the fucking logic and actual aspects and ability to speak for ourselves, we should easily tell them, hey, guess what? You don't speak for me, you bitch, and if you think you can speak for me, and yet I know that you will take offense to that big time, I can guarantee you that right now. But when they do take offense, say, hey, if you don't like it, tough shit. You've been doing it too long, and with the fact of MGTOW, it's woken me up. Just tell them that straight up. And she goes, well, what's MGTOW? I'm like, okay, and you be like, okay, what's feminism? They'll be dumbfounded. They'll be held, kind of emotionally held back. The basic fact is that they will find that they have been found out. They're actually going by the aspects of feminism without question, and without even admitting to the aspect of them going by the basis of the feminist Me Too attributes and actions against the man. But the basic fact is, I know simple logic is that not very many, if any, blue-pilled men are using this aspect. So I'm putting it out there that every man out there that's not yet MGTOW to start with, and every man that is MGTOW, put that question out. Even Duzangs, put that question out. What is feminism really? Is it the fact that women think that they can speak for us men while we're in a relationship with them, and to where the woman thinks that they can have high entitlements when the entitlements basis is really going to remain at 50-50 in all logic and logistics? And is feminism the base of wanting power over what man does and doesn't do, like the Democrats will be doing and are still trying to do to the American people? And why they're trying to do this impeachment circus to start with? And when they don't really have anything against Trump in the fucking first place? Or is feminism in the aspect of what the ERA was about, which was equal rights and fairness and equality for both male and female, or basically for females, even though the ERA already had taken care of that for the women of even today. The ERA had the aspect of where women were able to work, still able to vote, and where women wouldn't have to depend on mommy and daddy anymore, and they would be able to make their own money. But yet, here's the one thing though. The one thing that women do not admit freely, and that is the fucking fact that they will expect you, the man, to pay for their way to you. And they say, oh, I don't make them that much. Who gives a damn? The basic fact is, if you want to see me, you're gonna have to pay your way. We're not married. We're not tied to the fucking ring with the wedding rings. So therefore, you're paying your fucking way over to me if you really want to be with me, straight up. And women don't like that shit. I've told many women this sort of thing of when it comes to, you want to see me, you pay your own way. This is no longer the 1950s where men pay for practically every little fucking thing in the fucking under the sun. The ERA put it where women can work and survive and be able to make their own income. And I know that even MGTOW Man and Duzangs would agree with me on this one, as well as Mr. Hate Vicious would agree with me, and Mr. Elite would agree with me on everything I've said so far. Even to the aspect of that there's no wage gap. The feminist movement want the general public in the United States and across the fucking globe to believe that there's a wage gap. When really the aspect is that when it comes to a woman's safety, the commercialized world, if you want to call the business world, has allowed women to get off work early, so there's no worries about them being abducted or raped or anything else for that matter. And yet they want to go to the points of the wage gap now. There's no logic in that, ladies. So basically, there's no wage gap, and yet, if you blue-pill men believe that there is a wage gap, then guess what? You're more than subservient. You're a fucking lapdog to the fucking feminist movement. You're a fucking lapdog to the fucking Me Too movement if you believe that shit. And yet, what you don't get, what the blue-pilled fucking simps don't get, and the subservient men don't get, is that if one thing is done wrong, that the female can make up any bullshit thing in this gynocentric world, and yet you blue-pilled subservient men are up shit creek with no fucking paddle. Thereby, you will be sentenced to the fucking full arm of the law, when basically women have done many things. It's even been shown on video where a woman would get all so emotionally enraged and hit herself while in an elevator or in a closed-in area and yell out and claim that you did it. You blue-pilled subservient men did it to them, and yet they will walk the cop or whoever up and they will have your ass in jail for it. And it's all on the aspect of a hearsay aspect. Yet, in this gynocentric world, women have the upper hand on that aspect, unfortunately. So we need to realize, we need to make sure that the congressmen need to get to the points to where we are not put in this particular situation ever again, where the women can get away with this type of shit. And on top of that, women need to realize you want fairness. You've been given fairness through the ERA, the 1970s feminist movement, who marched and protested from 1972 to 1978, and in which put into the Equal Rights Amendment Bill, and it was officially enacted in 1979 to 1980, and it's still being enacted continuously without even question, without even a word. But yet the one thing is, I know we all know that MGTOW members know that they want more. They want the base of, shall we say, like the Hitler's regime, where they have more say-so than us men, when basically what they're really doing in the sense of the judgments aspects, especially if you go on TikTok, you'll see many judgmental fucking sayings from the feminist young women and older women, in the sense that oh, you're not handsome enough to do this or act that way. Guess what? The gynocentric world is no longer going to be favoring to the woman, especially when it comes to advocating for the woman. Or even, and if the government keeps on white knighting, doesn't quit white knighting for the woman when they are clearly in the fucking wrong, then guess what? We can make it to where, we MGTOW men can make it to where it is put to a fucking stop without question. And I know the ways to do that, and yet if any woman hears this, I don't care. I tell the truth. I tell it how I see it, and that's gonna be the way I am. And if you respect me or not, I don't give a damn. But the basic fact is, I'm telling the truth. I tell it how I see it. I've always told things how I see it, regardless if you agree with me or not, man. That's the truth. MGTOW, man. MGTOW is the good thing for men, and yet many men don't get the fucking fact that the more they kneel down to the woman, the more they will be fucking going to the points of emotional, psychological depression, to the points of where they go to the points of Russian roulette. We MGTOW don't want that, so we say that all men that are not yet MGTOW become MGTOW and never, ever be subservient to the woman. Because all they want is something that they know they can't get within realistic, spiritual, and actual logical attributes and standings and what have you else. So basically, we MGTOW men better put that out more than exponentially to every man. Even if you replay this video in front of them, you may see the full reaction and response. We may not get a whole lot of them, because we may not get a whole lot of the positivity and this guy makes sense type of thing. The basic fact is because they're still blue-pilled cucks. The ones that, oh, if I go against my wife, or if I go against my woman, I will never get a woman again. Is that what they're really after, or is it the fact that they're willing to give themselves and their freedom and decency of their own self-confidence and self-respect for themselves and faith within and belief in themselves, that they are willing to give all that up just for the fucking gynocentric, feminist, dumbass bitch of a woman? But the one thing is I know the fucking fact that women have put men through hell. That's part of the reason why we men, it's been said many times that we men have lived a shorter life than women, is because women have put us through hell for no logical reason. So yet the one thing is also is that, what do you think we should do? Well, I say we should stay MGTOW. We should stay strong, MGTOW. Don't fall back because you may hear certain things that a MGTOW member says that you don't agree with. Everybody has their own ways of looking at things and describing things. As much as I have, every video I've done, and every video that Duzangs and Mr. Hayfishes and Elite has done, they've had their own speech and ways of expressing themselves and what have you, and I respect that, and I will support that, and I will advocate for that and back that up 100%, even as a humanitarian advocate. But the one thing is, women do not get the fucking fact that they cannot go to the aspects of reaching for something that's not really there. And yet they keep on doing it. And they expect us men to just give in and give up and give ourselves in freedom and all bases of our own separate humanity to them, to where they have full control, as if we're their zombies, and where we have to abide by what they say. And if there's something that they don't like, oh, guess what? We're in deep shit by the law, aren't we? So basically, until the feminist women realize they can't get away with shit like that, we should stay MGTOW. MGTOW is the very, very base that we can stay in major legal, logical defense from the feminist gynocentric little bitch. Because there's going to be many of them, even in the millennial. The millennials will possibly go into that aspect as well. Of the feminist aspects, that is. We need to be more than watchful of that shit. Especially especially when it comes to those we work with and around. And yes, even in it, and sadly enough, it will also constitute to the male as well, because those that we work with that are also male would possibly support by giving their balls to the fucking feminist, saying, "Here's my balls. I support you. You're right, and every man is wrong. Here's my balls. Put it in your purse or put it in your right in your pants pocket or dress pocket, if you have any pockets in your dress." Although oddly enough, they did in the Middle Ages. I'd tell you that much. But so those who don't like being controlled by the woman, and as if we always do wrong and the women always do right, when basically what really by the woman cheating on us and expecting the illogical and sinful shit and monkey branching it to every other man without us men that they're supposedly supposed to go be faithful to. The basic fact is that they are leading themselves to the pits of hell. The pits of hell will be ready and has been ready for the feminist female that does the illogical, sinful shit of monkey branching to every male just because they don't get what they want on their timeline. And basically, women need to realize that when you do the negative, sinful expectation of getting what you want on your timeline when it's not realistically, logically possible, and even within reality, then guess what? The more you expect something, the more you're going to have to wait longer and longer and longer, and the sexual playground is not safe. So basically, as I mentioned in my other video, is that the AIDS virus is much more deadly than many other viruses in the sexual nature, a lot more deadly than, say, herpes is. Because it will eat away gradually or exponentially, to where you women will become weak and frail, essentially, to where you're not able to make a move, and to where you will need a cane to stand up, even at a young age. You'll need a fucking walker if at all. And your life will be taken away from you, as well as the feminist female. The more we take risks in the sexual nature of things. Guaranteed. This is Logical MGTOW Spock. Have a good day.